What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real in reality or whatever, period. I'm your host, Pharaoh, and as you see by the title, today we are going to be giving you an occasionally recap, as I do throughout the season, to update you on what the fuck is going on the live feeds. If you do not want any spoilers for this season and you're only watching the episodes, you might as well bow out, because I am going to be spoiling the new HOH. I'm going to be spoiling who the new HOH is ready to nominate. All of that. So go ahead and bow out if you're not down with that. Okay. Now, before we get into it, make sure you get into our Big Brother after show, honey. Let me pull it up. Our next Big Brother TRK after show guest is going to be Miss Bailey Pelham, the winner of Big Brother Canada 12. Make sure you get into it. Make sure you send her questions and us questions about the week throughout the week using the hashtag Kingdom Speaks on Twitter, on Blue Sky, wherever the fuck you need to do it. If you have not gotten into my Jessica Milagros after show, it was a hoot and a holler. We talked about all the house guests. We talked about the tea of the season, of the week. Make sure you get into that. She spilled a lot of tea about her season, about her experience on Big Brother, about her experience with some of the players, some players that might be problematic, and how she might have known they were problematic from her season and other seasons. So y'all get into that after show. It is good and juicy and nice and full. So get into that tea. But as I said, today we are going to be discussing the live feeds, girl. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up the actual cast right now, because I need to show y'all what the fuck is going on in this house, right? Boom. If you're a visual learner, go to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all of that shit. Right? So it's a lot of stuff going on screen still, but it's becoming smaller and smaller, because the truth is, Ashley and Rachel being the mom squad, that's probably going to go away very fast. Amy was really holding that together. I do think that's going to go away very fast. Of course, we still have Triple Threat with Morgan, Jimmy, and Mickey, which is, kind of barely a thing. And then, of course, we have the people who aren't in any alliances, which is Catherine, Keanu, and Kelly. Now, the main thing we should be looking at is, in my opinion, the Heavy Hitters Alliance and the Bond Alliance. So first of all, of course, the Heavy Hitters. And honestly, the Heavy Hitters has actually shifted, because the people in the Heavy Hitters don't trust this man, Riley. Really, the Heavy Hitters is just Vince, Zach, Rachel, Morgan, and Jimmy. They kind of had a conversation saying that Riley is no longer in it. In a way, Riley's kind of in no alliances. In a way, Ashley's kind of in no alliances. But the Heavy Hitters is kind of still a thing. Last week, Jimmy made sure it was a thing. This week, they're still actually talking, even though Lauren is the head of household. The Heavy Hitters are still talking and discussing yada, yada, yada about still working together without Riley. So it kind of really is. I'm going to move him, actually. Get the fuck out of here. It kind of really is, these five people in this group of Heavy Hitters still working in tandem in some way, which is very interesting. The next biggest thing is the Bond, because, of course, Lauren is the head of household, and Lauren was in the Bond. The Bond is all these people in the green, which is Vince, Zach, Lauren, Ava, Adrian, and Will. So you would think, because Lauren is the head of household, she's going to lock in the Bond. They're kind of going to take some power away from the Heavy Hitters group, or even Rachel's side, or whatever it is, yada, yada, yada. But, child, I'm going to give you the tea. It's not giving that. We saw on the episode yesterday Lauren's point of view, which was very interesting, because usually we don't have enough time to see people like Lauren's point of view. But I'm glad they showed it, because Lauren is the new head of household. And so the point of view she explained on the episode last night was, there are sides to the house. She felt like, and this is probably why she isn't loyal to the Bond that much, I don't know, but she felt like the sides were the girls plus Jimmy, which is really Morgan, Rachel, Ashley, Mickey, and Ava plus Jimmy. She felt like was kind of a side. And then she felt like it was the boys plus her and Kelly, which are Zach, Vince, Riley, Will, Adrian, Keanu, and then her and Kelly. And maybe even Catherine. Like, she kind of felt like there was these two sides. And she was like, oh, I want to make sure the sides are even. First of all, according to her knowledge, the sides aren't even, because according to her knowledge, it's 10 people, and then it's versus Rachel, Ashley, Morgan, Jimmy, Mickey. So it wouldn't even be even in her logical mind. No shade. I guess this was before Amy went home. But she says she wants to keep the sides even. And I think that's important to know, knowing what her decision for the HOH is, because she's like trying to be a very neutral party. And I kind of talked about Lauren on the first vote to evict when it was Zay versus Amy. And I said, Lauren should have stood on business because it's important for her game for someone like Zay to still be in the house. And now that we're here at this week and she's the HOH, the truth is Lauren is closer to Zach, to Vince, to Adrian, to the people in the bond, and she's not close at all to Morgan and Mickey and Ashley and Rachel. So in a way, although I love Morgan and Mickey and Ashley and Rachel, Lauren should be targeting them. Instead, from what we know, Lauren is planning on nominating Keanu, which makes sense because he's a house target. You know, no one really likes him. It's an easy nom. Kelly, which doesn't make sense. Lauren is very close to Kelly. Lauren and Kelly have had a lot of like cahoot type of like they're in cahoots together on this boy side of things. They've damn near made like a cute little unspoken final two thing. Like they were very close, especially during the vote to potentially save Zay. And then she thinks that she's on the girl side with the boy. I mean, she's on the boy side. So to me, Kelly and Lauren were very close. To Lauren, Kelly and Lauren were very close. So I didn't necessarily understand that. And then the last person she's thinking about nominating is someone from the bond. She's thinking either Adrian or Will. Now, if you don't remember, last week, Jimmy's nominations were Keanu, Kelly, and Adrian, and his renomination was Will. Lauren is essentially thinking to nominate the exact same people that Jimmy nominated. She's trying to keep blood off her hands. She wants to stay in this ambiguous middle spot, yada, 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 yada. So right now she's thinking either Adrian or Will. She's leaning more towards Will. So these is what she's thinking of the nominations. This has already pissed Will and Ava off because if they're in an alliance called the Bond, why would anyone in the alliance be nominated when there's so many other options? She could have put up Riley if she didn't want to piss off Rachel and them. She could have put up Ashley if she wanted to do something the house wanted. She definitely had options. Adrian or Will are silly. I think I can excuse Keanu and Kelly because everyone expects them to be nominated. But that third person being Adrian or Will is silly because the only alliance Lauren is in the bond. And now that she said Will's name, Ava and Will have said, we don't want to be in the alliance anymore. So now they are thinking about not even being in the bond anymore. The bond is going to be disbanded. And then this is going to give the upper hand to the Rachel, Morgan, Mickey side of the game, which Lauren was trying to kind of undermine this whole time. So although I'm cool with it because I like Rachel, Morgan, and Mickey, when you're putting yourself in the perspective of Lauren, I don't think this makes any sense. I think this is very silly of a move. And, you know, her side quotations of Zach and Vince and Adrian, they're all very passive players. So she's getting advice from passive players. She's a passive player. And I think it's culminating in this very passive, weak move. Like Jimmy's move was bad for a lot of different reasons, but at least he was going to target Keanu and Kelly, who was kind of on the other side of the game. Lauren is nominating 3 people on her side of the game, essentially, you know? And I think that's the biggest issue with these nominations is that none of them are against her group of people. Like all this will do is benefit Rachel and Ashley and Mickey and Morgan, who she's trying to hinder because she feels like they're the biggest threats in the game. So it really doesn't make sense. Truly, I don't think I agree with this at all for her perspective. In my opinion, and this is the thing, I don't think she should nom Mickey and Morgan because I don't think she will hit that shot. I don't think she should nom Rachel because she might not hit that shot either. I don't think she should nom Jimmy because she might not hit that shot either. It's like these are the biggest threats for a reason. They do have connections. They're all connected to the heavy hitters. Mickey has connections to so many players. I don't think any of them will actually go home. However, not nominating Ashley makes zero sense to me. In my opinion, Lauren's number one target should be Ashley. Ashley is a number potentially for Rachel or Mickey or Jimmy or Morgan the longer we move forward in the game. And she's also after Lauren's closest allies, Vince and Zach. So from Lauren's perspective, I see why you wouldn't put up Mickey and Morgan because you're scared. You know, I would be scared to do that as well in the sense of they might not go home. But she's not even thinking of putting up Ashley. And that starts to become a fear of making a move, a fear of doing anything, you know? Like, it's okay to be hesitant to put up someone who might not be evicted. But it seems like Lauren is hesitant to put up anyone who's on the other side. And that's where it's becoming, you're making a very weak and bad move for your game. King Cash says, it's Ashley going after Zach. Not necessarily. Ashley is more concerned with Vince, but she has mentioned that Vince and Zach are the biggest threats in the game. So she's mentioned Zach as a threat, but I think if she were to target someone, it would be Vince. So that's not good. I genuinely think Lauren needs to target Ashley. Ashley should be the number one target because Ashley will target Catherine, who is close to Lauren. Ashley will target Vince, who is helpful for Lauren. A lot of people who would protect Lauren, Ashley would target. And no one is going to be mad that Ashley is nominated. I see why she wouldn't want to piss people off and put up Morgan and put up Mickey. But no one's going to be pissed off if you put up Ashley. Ashley has already been nominated. Ashley is annoying and bothering majority of the house, even the people on her side. No one is going to be mad at her. And I think she's overcompensating her reserved type of gameplay in order to appease the house. But you need to make sure if you're going to play this game, you have to push your game forward. What she might do this week will not push her game forward at all. It will either keep it at the same place it was, or even worse, strengthen the people who she wants to take out of the game. I think Lauren playing this way is going to be a consistent thing for her game, and I think that's going to put her in a very bad position. And the same thing goes to Vince and Zach. Vince and Zach have the most influence over Lauren this week, and they're not telling her to do anything differently. They're agreeing with this. Now, Vince and Zach actually have alliances with Morgan and Jimmy and Rachel, but they don't have alliances with Ashley, and they don't like Ashley, and they know Ashley is targeting them, and they're still not telling her to put up Ashley. Now, could Ashley be a renom? Potentially, but Lauren is also talking about Adrian being the renom. So it's a bad, I think it's already a bad week. You know, Lauren isn't standing on business. And I think, especially in the new era of Big Brother, you have to be a bold player. You have to put your foot down as a game player to win this game. It's still early, so maybe she'll turn it on later on. Same thing with Zach and Vince. But it just seems like their game styles are not bold. And it seems like people like Mickey and Jimmy and Morgan and Rachel have bold game styles. And when you think of the winners of the new era, Chelsea was an extremely bold player. She was flipping the vote on Tucker, flipping the vote on Joseph, flipping the vote. And this was all pre-jury. You know, this was early in the game. So that's the type of winner we have. Taylor Hale, who everyone was after. And she was like, I have to literally fight against the entire house. You know, we had Jag, who literally had to fight against the entire house, flip the kind of game. Like, he had to do so many bold moves to make it to the end. Even Xavier had to work with the cookout and make so many bold moves, especially at the end, taking out Kylan. Like, so many things that it just seems like already, Lauren, if you're scared to put up Ashley, how will you ever win the game? Zach, if you're scared to tell Lauren to put up Ashley, your name don't even got to be attached to it. How will you win the game? Vince, if you're scared to tell Lauren to put up Ashley and you know Ashley's coming for you, how will y'all win the game? It's like, when I'm thinking and I'm analyzing who could win this game, it's starting to feel like Mickey and Morgan are the only options, and Rachel. You know, maybe Jimmy. Like, it's starting to feel like this 4-person group of the players who are so active and bold of Rachel, Morgan, and Jimmy and Mickey, according to the results we've gotten in the new era, they're the only ones who are going to carve out their game in a way that can actually get them to win. I will say maybe Adrian as well, because Adrian told her, we should be putting up Ashley. We should be putting up Morgan. We should be putting up Mickey. Like, Adrian is trying to get these big heavy hitters on the block, and he's the only one. So I feel like he, and maybe even Ava would do a big move. So I feel like the people who could actually play this game with an activeness that's needed, like Adrian and Ava, and then of course like Rachel, Morgan, Jimmy, Mickey, are the ones who are going to have a better chance at winning, because that's why Amy stayed the first round. Amy didn't even really have the votes the first round. She didn't even really have the votes, but Riley was too scared. Lauren was too scared. So we saw what happened. The second round, they got lucky that Rachel's side was okay with Amy going home, because if not, Amy probably would have stayed again if they stood on business. This week, now that Lauren has an HOH, it's like Rachel's side is getting what she wants, and you don't like Rachel's side. It doesn't really make sense. So yeah, that's what we're looking at for the week. It's going to be a very boring week again. I don't know if we need to blame the Blockbuster or the AI Arena, because someone brought it to, Twitter's attention that even last year, the same people were nominated over and over again. Rubina, Chemo, Angela, Tucker, Rubina, Chemo, Angela, Tucker, all season. It was still entertaining because Tucker and Angela are entertaining players. There were vote flips here and there. So there was still entertainment. But when it came to the nominations, it was very Battle of the Block like. Y'all remember BB16 with Battle of the Block, how because there were so many nominations, there was the same nominees every time. I did notice that did start happening with the Blockbuster in the AI arena. So if there is a quotations negative, maybe we're starting to see it with this less entertaining cast and the repeat nominees. Because imagine if last season we didn't have Tucker, it would still be the same nominees over and over again, and we would be bored. Like, we got lucky to have Tucker to kind of shift that around. But this season, you know, every season doesn't have a Tucker. Tucker is a rare commodity. So this season, we're seeing what happens if there isn't that heavy hitter type of player like Tucker and Angela to carry the entertainment. We see how the battle, the Blockbuster can kind of maybe start being boring, because the eviction episode, no shade, I was snoring. This week, I think we're going to be snoring again, y'all. I don't think the eviction episode is going to be interesting. It's probably going to be Keanu just going home. If he wins veto, it's just Kelly going home. Like, and then next week, it'll probably be the other one who stays, because we set the tone of the season to be this passive kind of play. So, y'all, I don't know. Like, even Mary Duda says, last season it was the cast, not the AI arena. I think it might be that. I think it might be with a great cast, the AI arena can feel very entertaining. But with a normal, I feel like this is an average cast. I wouldn't even say this is a bad cast. I'd just say average. And with an average cast, the AI arena might not hold up. So we'll just have to continue to see. But this is what Lauren's thinking of doing. It's a chop for me. I'm not gagged. And that's what we have it. All right, y'all. I got to go back to work, girl. Just a quick little update for y'all. Make sure y'all get into the after show. Send in your questions for Bailey right the fuck now as I leave this stream. Make sure y'all are here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all throughout the season, because we will be going live talking Big Brother. Of course, the challenge is also on Thursdays, so get into that as well. And thank you guys for keeping it real with the kingdom, baby. I'm out. Bye.